Welcome to Believers Talk and the Week 8 post-game show of the Week 8 matchup on Monday Night Football between the New England Patriots and our Buffalo Bills, as the Buffalo Bills hosted their first Monday Night Football game in 10 years. It was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. Unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick. Obviously, we can always talk about the defense, right? How great the defense played and how the defense kept us in this game. But you know what? You've heard that, because we've done it before. I mean, this is not the first game. You look at the Houston Texans game, the defense kept us in that game. You look at the Green Bay Packers game, we were kept in that game by the defense. I'm not here to gush over our defense. Normally I come on here, I try to give some good and some bad about the game yesterday. Well, I'm not going to do that for the defense. We know how good this defense is, and we know that we're wasting time. We're wasting time, as we learned that today Nathan Peterman is going to be the starter this week against the Chicago Bears. Unfortunately, with Anderson in concussion protocol due to the hit he took late in last night's game. We also learned that Terrell Pryor will be signing, or it looks like Terrell Pryor will be signing with the Buffalo Bills, so maybe a little more depth to that wide receiver position. But we're not going to talk about that too much. We are going to talk strictly about the game, and also why I believe, play a little devil's advocate here. Listen, guys, I know our offense is not good, but I want to talk why we probably shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Brian Daboll, why we shouldn't be so quick to find a scapegoat when it comes to this offense. But before I do that, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you have not already subscribed to Believers Talk, hit that subscribe button. We go live every week, at least 2 or 3 times a week. We go live right here on Believers Talk. We give you live play-by-play reaction of the Buffalo Bills game. We give you live reaction the day after, and we also give you live pregame the Thursday night prior to the game. I try to get on here during Thursday Night Football, the halftime show, to let you know what's going on and what we can look forward to the coming week. I have some tricks and treats in store for you guys come the Chicago Bears game. Stay tuned for those this Thursday. But again, hit that subscribe button. Also, while we're on here, I'm going to keep you updated on the Buffalo Bulls playing the Miami of Ohio Wildcats or Hawkeyes or whatever they are right now. But that's 1-2 in the MAC. Going at it, as Buffalo's 1 in the MAC and Miami, Ohio is 2nd in the MAC. So keeping you updated on that game. That game is currently 21-14 Miami of Ohio with 8.5 to go in the second quarter. Flipping back and forth between UB and the Sabres. Yeah, the Sabres are also in a tight 1-2 against the Flames. Keep you updated on that as well, as the Buffalo Sabres are up 1-0 on a Jack Eichel goal. So if you're a fan of Buffalo sports, you also want to stay tuned to Believers Talk, because I try to keep you posted on all Buffalo sports, as the Buffalo Bulls just scored touchdown. Anthony Johnson with his second touchdown of the day. So now scores 21-20, extra point pending. So that's exciting. Also, log into our follow us on Twitter, because that's where I'm going to keep you updated as well. Keep you updated on all Buffalo sports news. So again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment or two. We'll talk back and forth. Welcome, Fox A7. Always enjoy having you on these streams. But let's talk about that Buffalo Bills New England Patriots game yesterday. A game where the Patriots won 25-6. A game that sounds worse than it really was. And if you were watching that game, if you're a Bills fan, you know that. As they entered the fourth quarter, the game was 12-6. It was a one-possession game. Couple scores in the fourth quarter made that game seem out of hand when really it was not. The Bills offense, of course, struggling throughout the whole game. You could talk about McCoy. You could talk about the wide receivers. There are lots of things you could talk about as far as the offense struggling. But the bottom line is we just couldn't get the job done, couldn't get in the end zone. Currently, the Bills are averaging less than 11 points a game. That has to change, obviously. We cannot win games if we're not scoring points. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon this season. What does that mean for this offense? What does it mean for Brian Daboll? I personally think, and I'll give you my reasons why, and we can discuss this and we can argue this point. I think Brian Daboll should not be fired this year. I'll give you my point. I have statistics to back my points up. I'm not just looking at the game today or looking at the play this season and saying, oh, well, Daboll needs to be fired because we're not scoring points. I don't think that way. I'm going to back it up with statistics from previous seasons, from other teams, to let you know why I think Brian Daboll deserves a chance to stay in the NFL. So, welcome to Believers Talk again. My name is Joe. If this is the first time, hit that subscribe button. But first, we want to get into some statistics. Obviously, the game lasted a little bit longer last night since it was a Monday Night Football game. I got out of here and went straight to bed because I'm a lazy bum. So I didn't stay on here long enough to give stats of the game. So I want to do that. This is one of the things that are not did not go well for the Buffalo Bills, or something that that stopped yesterday, a streak that was snapped, is we had not allowed a 300-yard passer for 18 games. Tom Brady did throw for over 300 yards yesterday. He did not throw for a touchdown, however, and this is the first game of the season where he did not throw for a touchdown. So that's something to kind of hold our hat on. Again, we don't need to talk about how good this Bills defense is. We know how good this Bills defense can be. Now, every once in a while, they throw in a game like Baltimore week 1 or like Indianapolis last week where you're not sure why they didn't show up, but it's kind of tough to show up week after week when you know the offense is not going to put up points for you. You know that no matter how good you play, the offense isn't going to back you up, and that's a problem we have, and we'll get into that a little bit. So going into the Patriots side of the ball, we'll start with the winners because that's what we try to do around here. We'll start with the winning teams. Tom Brady, 29 for 45, 324 yards, 0 interceptions, 0 TDs. He was sacked twice. So we were able to get some pressure on Tom Brady, especially early in that game. Doesn't sound that great with only 2 sacks, but we were able to hit him a couple times. Lorenzo Alexander had a sack, almost had a strip sack. So that was just some good things. That's what we needed to do to have a chance in this game, and we definitely need to have a chance in this game going into the fourth quarter. Talk about rushing. You had Cordarrelle Patterson had 10 rushes for 38 yards. Again, unlike 2 weeks ago, or unlike last week against Indianapolis, our run defense steps up again. We allowed over 200 yards rushing against Indy the week before. This week, we didn't even allow over 95 yards, so that's something that I like to see. I always love to see us prevent the run game. I feel like if we can't stop the run game, there's no way we're going to be able to stop the pass game after a while because we're going to have to try to cheat up and do some run blitzes to try to stop it. Or they're just going to run over us all day like they did a week ago at Indy. So James White, 8 rushes for 15 yards and that 1 touchdown, that 1-yard run in the fourth quarter. Edelman had 2 catches for 13 yards. Tom Brady had 1 for 8. Kenjon Barner had 2 for 4 yards, and then Brian Hoyer 2 for -2 yards. So those are the rushing stats. You go over to the receiving stats. Julian Edelman was the thorn in the side for the Buffalo Bills all day long. 9 receptions, 104 yards. James White had 10 receptions out of the backfield for 79 yards. Chris Hogan had 2 for 49. Gronkowski had 3 for 43. We all let catch him on the sideline. Now, some Bills fans are saying that he did not get that second foot in bounds before he had control of the ball. Very close. You couldn't tell. Obviously, the officials couldn't tell enough to reverse it on the field. So it was very close, especially that one, the pylon angle made it look like he did step out of bounds, but it was very close. We can't blame that call on why we lost this game. It was a close call. I don't blame the officials. Even if they did get it wrong, we'll never know, obviously. In the stat book, they got it right. So Josh Gordon blanketed all day by Tre'Davious White. 4 catches for 40 yards. That's nothing. We'll take that all day. Way to go, Trey White, again, showing why you should be an all-pro quarterback in this league. And then James DeVellin, their fullback, had a catch for 7 yards. But the big news on that catch was he knocked out Tremaine Edmonds shortly thereafter. He trucked Tremaine Edmonds. Edmonds stayed in the game for the first half, but then he was out in the second half in concussion protocol. So we hope that he's okay moving into that Bears game next week in Buffalo. So talking about the fumbles, Tom Brady did a fumble. They were able to recover it, and Kyle Van Noy had a forced fumble that was recovered by Patrick Chung when Kyle Van Noy got a strip sack late in the game. And the Bills, again, stopped the Patriots to a field goal after that strip sack, which was in Buffalo territory. So it was a big defensive stand by the Buffalo Bills. But again, that made the game 12-6 at that point. And unfortunately, the Bills just could not get any offense together we were able to get to midfield into Patriots territory. Just we're not able to get the ball into the end zone. So that was a little bit of a shame. Trey White was snubbed of deep. Fox A7, you could tell Snipes how much I've ranted about that last year, coming into this year, how many videos I put out about how I felt about Trey White being snubbed. If you're a Bills fan, you know Trey White got snubbed. Trey White was Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, but the NFL didn't see it that way. Just goes to show you how much disrespect I've always felt like the Bills get disrespected a lot in this league. But again, if you don't make the playoffs 18 years straight, that kind of is going to happen after a while. But yeah, Fox A7, you can kind of tell them how I feel about that decision of Trey White not getting Rookie of the Year. But Snipes, welcome to Believers Talk. Thank you for joining me. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Like I said, we go live for the live streams of the game. I do play-by-play and reaction to every Buffalo Bills game. So this Sunday, we will be live for the Bears versus Bills game. I do a pregame show every every Thursday, and then a post-game wrap-up the following day. Most of the time, obviously, that's on Monday, but today, due to the Monday Night Football game, it's on Tuesday. So those are the Patriots' offensive stats. On defense, again, Kyle Van Noy had the 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He had 7 tackles in this game. And then Adrian Claiborne also had a sack and a tackle for a loss in this game. So those are the stats. The 3 sacks by New England, and again, the Bills had 2 sacks. So let's go over to the Bills side of the ball and talk about some of their stats. Now, for I think the second time this season, maybe even the first time this season, the Bills passed for over 300 yards. So that shows a little bit of improvement, especially considering Derek Anderson has only been on the team at this point 21 days. Today's his 21st day on the team. So 20 days on the team, he's able to go 22 for 39 for 290 yards. Peterman goes 2 for 2 when he comes in for 23 yards. Derek Anderson did have that fumble and also threw an interception in this game. Late in the game, that pick 6 that kind of sealed the win for the New England Patriots to make this one 25-6. Shortly after, a lot of Bills fans got excited, thinking that Kroon got a touchdown. Unfortunately, that was not the case in this game. It was obvious that Kroon did not hold on to that ball, so we can't blame him there. We have Chris Ivory, ran the ball 6 times for 34 yards. LaShawn McCoy, 12 carries for 13 yards, which is a shame because his first carry of the game on first down, the Buffalo Bills' first play from offense, was a LaShawn McCoy direct snap for 12 yards. So the rest of the game, you're saying he had 11 carries for 1 yard. That can't happen. We needed LaShawn McCoy to step up in this game. Did not get the job done. You can't say anything more than he did not get the job done. Derek Anderson, 1 rush for -1 yard. So there's the rushing stats. Receiving wise, you have LaShawn McCoy, who was our leading receiver. No surprise there. 6 catches for 82 yards. So in that respect, LaShawn McCoy was exactly what we needed him to be. In the open field, he was able to make some moves. I really wish that early in the game, I think it was the first quarter, Derek Anderson hit LaShawn McCoy with an over-the-shoulder catch. Unfortunately, he led him a little bit too far, and LaShawn McCoy, in making the catch, had to fall over and was tagged down there. I wonder what happens if he catches that ball in the open field, if he's able to break a tackle and maybe make another guy miss and get into the end zone on that play. But other than that, no real big opportunities for the Bills to get in the end zone in this game. We talk about the Kroon catch. That was not a catch earlier in the fourth quarter, and then we talk about the McCoy play where he seemed to have a lot of open field from him if Derek Anderson could have let him. We have Zay Jones stepping up big time in this game. 6 receptions, 55 yards. We talked a little bit yesterday, if you were on the live stream, about Zay Jones and how he could be starting to come along a little bit here. So we'll see how he does the rest of the season. Bring back Allen. Zay looked pretty good. Absolutely, he looked good. That's what I'm saying. Snipes, welcome to Talk again. Remember that forced fumble against Tampa for the win? That was a game winner. I'm just joking. You don't want to potentially ruin his career. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to bring him back too early. You don't like the idea of Nathan Peterman come back in the game, after what we've seen of his performances. But unfortunately, it is what it is. We cannot start Allen. We cannot start Anderson. We don't want to see him get further hurt. Obviously, the whole big thing with the NFL and concussions. So we do want to make sure that everyone's healthy. This means that we are going to have to bring some people in for our backup position. Who will that be? We're not sure at this point. But we do have to bring someone in. We have to sign a backup quarterback for this game. So. But yeah, no need to rush back Allen. Wait till he is 100% before you put him back out there. At this point in the season, 2-6, we're not a playoff team. So wait till he's ready to go before we bring him in there. But we should let Pickerman start and learn. I don't think he's going to learn. Why is he going to learn? I really feel a little bit worried about that position come this Sunday. I feel like the Bills are a decent team all the rest of the way around, except for that one position. We've seen it haunt us. I mean, it's almost like worst case scenario for the Bills at that quarterback position as far as the way it's gone down so far this year. I think Peterman did earn the starting job in the preseason. However, it was just not enough, and he showed week 1 why he cannot be a starter in this league. So going through some more receivers, again, really impressed with Zay Jones, how he came together in this one. And Andre Holmes had 2 catches, 45 yards. I feel like Andre Holmes was a little bit silent in this game. He had those 2 big catches, that one huge third down catch that he caught out of bounds. But other than that, I wish we would see more from him. Kelvin Benjamin, 2 catches, 45 yards. Again, that big one down the sideline to get into Patriots territory. But other than that, again, pretty silent. I will say again, I've said this before, I do like Kelvin Benjamin blocking downfield. There was one big play to McCoy where Kelvin Benjamin got caught for a blindside block penalty. I was not a fan of that penalty. I mean, you watch the play, it was a blindside block. I understand that penalty might have to be called in today's NFL. But the guy, if Kelvin Benjamin does not make that block, the guy who blocked gets the tackle on McCoy. So how is that fair? Like, you're telling the offense you cannot block downfield if the guy's not looking at you. Well, if you're a defender, then just turn away, right? I mean, just turn away every time someone goes to block you and say, oh, it was a blindside block, I wasn't ready for it, or whatever. Like, it's just ridiculous. And he led with his shoulder. It was a clean hit. It was shoulder to shoulder. He didn't even hit him in the head. I thought it was a good block. Again, 5-10 years ago, that would have just been a great block, and McCoy would have got the extra 20 yards after that. So it's a shame that play like that had an influence on the game. You know, that play alone puts in the field goal range, and then who knows what happens after that. With this struggling offense, you need to take everything you can get in that situation. But, you know, unfortunately, see that for Kelvin Benjamin. Charles Clay was a disappointment in this game. 3 catches for 36 yards. We did have a Ray McLeod sighting, 1 catch for 16 yards. Jason Kroom, again, couldn't hold in that touchdown pass. That would have been awesome. But he had a catch for 14 yards. Chris Ivory had a catch for 11 yards. Cam Phillips a catch for 9 yards. And DeMarco had a catch for 0 yards. So that's the stats for the Bills on offense. Going to defense, we did have Matt Milano, Travis White, and Tremaine Edmonds all with pass deflections. Tremaine Edmonds needs to do a better job of knowing when to jump for a ball. If you watched the game yesterday, you know there was a play over the middle where Tremaine Edmonds did a great job. I saw a report the Bills might sign. I know Barkley's coming in to practice. I'm not sure where we're signing him. I don't think he's even practiced with the Bills yet. But again, we need to get somebody. It's kind of like bottom of the barrel time. You know what I mean? I mean, we have Peterman starting, so it's already bottom of the barrel time. So we should draft 2 or 3 wide receivers in the draft. Also sign a vet receiver. Maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, we do have the cap space to do a lot of good fun things. $95 million will buy you a lot. So we'll see what we do. Obviously, we're not going to get Kelvin Benjamin back, or at least it seems that way. So we'll see what other wide receivers will be available. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the offseason as well. Who's available, who we want, what will make this team better. I think we're going to look better. I think Zay Jones will do a lot better next season. I look forward to that. But who's going to complement him, and then maybe pick up 1 or 2 in the draft as well. We'll see what happens. But we'll see what happens with the draft there. So that's going to be it as far as the statistics go for this game between the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots. Again, a lot closer than what people think. It was going to be, again, going into the fourth quarter, the Bills were only down 12-6, but you have to be able to score touchdowns in this league. We've gone 2 straight games now without scoring a touchdown. You will never win a game that way. Again, we're only averaging barely over 10 points a game. 10 points a game after week 8, that's not good enough to win in any league, let alone in the NFL. So we need to improve on that. I mean, we're seeing some offensive fireworks as Buffalo plays Miami here. The Buffalo Bulls tied with Miami of Ohio 21-21 with 3.5 to go in the first half. Buffalo does have the ball. So if you're trying to pay attention to that as well, I know Fox A7, I know you are as well. I'll keep you updated on that as we talk about this game as well. But one thing I want to talk about after the game yesterday, after I woke up this morning, watched a couple other social media websites talk about the post-game of the Buffalo Bills game. And this is why I don't do it directly after the game. There's too much raw emotion at that time. You know, I give raw emotion a lot of time during the game, but I try not to give opinions of the game until I get to watch it again, until I get to kind of calm down, relax, and see how it goes. So we're talking about Brian Daboll, and I'm hearing a lot of people calling for Brian Daboll's head. And I understand. I get it. Our offense is terrible. I'm not saying that it's not. And I'm not the biggest Brian Daboll fan, but I'm here to play a little bit of devil's advocate, if you will, and give the guy a chance. I don't know why, as Bills fans, we always need to find a scapegoat. You know, I mean, Rick Dennison was the guy last year. I wasn't a Dennison fan either, so we fired him. Now it's Brian Daboll after 8 weeks. After 8 weeks of football, he's already public enemy number 1, and we're ready to get rid of him. Well, let's take a look, guys. Let's take a look. As I've been saying for a little bit now, how can you fire an offensive coordinator when through 8 weeks, he's had 3 different quarterbacks that he's had to try to put an offensive scheme together for? And it's not like he's had all this time, right? Again, Derek Anderson yesterday, that was his 20th day on the team, and it was his second start for the Bills. So that means after 13 days, After 13 days, he was put on the field as our starter. How is that fair to then say, oh, well, we're not scoring touchdowns, it's on Brian Dable? Like, how is that fair to him? You're giving him 13 days to do his job, and he does the best he can. And again, Derek Anderson, actually yesterday, did not play too bad. He did not play too bad. His one interception came when he was trying to force something downfield when we were behind late in the game. The fumble, again, the offensive line, we know how bad this offensive line is. That's another need in the draft. We're talking about the draft. We need offensive line help. The sack, he didn't even see it coming. He fumbles it. The defense does a great job stopping New England to a field goal. And again, we have a chance there. But other than that, Derek Anderson played a decent game. The first game, if not the second game, that the Buffalo Bills have thrown over 300 yards this season. Again, going into this game, the Bills were only averaging 130 passing yards a game. And so he throws for over 280 yards. Peterman comes in, throws for over 20, gets us 300 total passing yards in this game. Okay? It's not like they're not trying out here. But again, when you're talking about 3 quarterbacks in 8 games, it's hard to... It's not like Allen, Anderson, and Peterman all have the same skill set. I'm trying to still figure out what Peterman's skills are, period. And I'm sure Dable is having that problem too. You can't blame Dable for the interceptions, can you? And it's not, Dable is not telling, come right back, Fox 87, we'll be here when you get back. I'm still watching the Bulls game here. The Bulls have the ball in the red zone, so it looks like they're getting ready to score here as well. But it's not like you can blame Dable for the interceptions. I mean, it's up to the quarterback to read his progressions. We've seen Peterman struggle with progressions. We've seen Allen struggle with progressions. We've seen Allen throw it across his body to try and make something happen twice now, and those have both been interceptions. So, you can't blame Dable for those things. And yet here we are saying Dable needs to be fired. Remember, I want Bills fans to think back to the last time we beat the Patriots. If you're watching this stream live, you can answer on the chat if you remember. If you watch this later, you'll obviously know. But the last time Bulls coverage, so yeah, Jeff, the Buffalo Bulls college football team, the University of Buffalo, they're playing right now on ESPN2. They're part of the MAC. They're currently 7-1, trying to become 8-1. It's the best start for the Bulls. This is the They became bowl eligible last week, and it's the fastest they become bowl eligible in history. So that's very exciting if you're a Buffalo sports fan. Again, keeping you updated on the Bulls, keeping you updated on the Sabres. That's what we do. Myth, welcome. Thank you for joining me on Believers Talk again. Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. We just got done doing post-game coverage. Now I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate as we talk about Brian Dable. I've heard a lot of people say that Brian Dable needs to be fired after 8 weeks of offensive coordinator, and I'm here to give you a few reasons why he shouldn't be traded, why he shouldn't be fired, why I think we should stick with him for the rest of this year and move into next season with him as well. Once we get into next season, then we can begin to do a better job grading him and figure out where he's going to sit. And should he keep the job after week 4 of next year, that's up to debate at that point. But looking at this season, we've had 3 quarterbacks in 8 weeks. When was the last time the Buffalo Bills beat the Patriots? It was in 2016. It was week 4 of 2016. And why did we beat the Patriots then? Because Tom Brady was still suspended because of Deflategate. We beat the Patriots 16-0 because Tom Brady wasn't in the game. And guess who else wasn't in that game? Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt the week before. So they moved on to a guy named Cody Brissett. Yeah, when Brady was out. Exactly, Jeff. When Brady was out. And Garoppolo was out. And they move on to a guy named Cody Brissett, who actually has looked pretty good in Luck's absence in Indianapolis, right? However, we beat them 16-0 as the Buffalo Bulls scored to go up 27-21 right before halftime. With 59 seconds to go, there was a flag on the play. I'll keep posted on that. So we beat them 16-0. They do not score a single point. The New England Patriots, with Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. Should we have said, oh, Josh McDaniels is an offensive coordinator because he can't get his third-string quarterback to score points against the Buffalo Bills team that wasn't that great? A Rex Ryan defense, which normally you hear that, or you think you hear that, and you think good things. No. We were mid to the pack to the bottom of the league, or I think bottom of the league, both years Rex Ryan was there. So that's the team that did not score against this Bills defense. And should we say, oh, well, Josh McDaniels is not a good offensive coordinator. Are you kidding me? You look at the rest of that 2016 season, and you'll know that's a lie. That's the year they went on to beat Atlanta in the Super Bowl. That's the comeback Super Bowl. So that's a lie. They had one of the best offenses in the league that year. But we shut them out 16-0. So should they have thought about getting rid of Josh McDaniels at that point? No, of course not. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in the game. Bill Belichick's one of the best offensive coordinators of all, or one of the best head coaches of all time. So it's not always the coaching. Again, and you want to know a big difference between Daboll's situation and the Patriots situation? They had all off season to get Garoppolo and Brissett ready because they knew Brady wasn't going to be there for the first 4 weeks. Daboll had 20 days. 20 days to say, Derek Anderson, you're getting ready to play the cream of the crop. You're getting ready to play against one of the best head coaches ever to head coach this game. Ever. And we expect miracles. What do we expect? We can't expect miracles. We need to win. We do need to win, and that's what matters. So let's get into winning. Let's talk about winning. All right, the Buffalo Bills are 2-6, right? 2-6, that sounds awful. One of the worst offenses in this league. I get it. But let's look at the 4 games. The 4 games that Josh Allen, our rookie quarterback, has started, okay? And finished, okay? There are 4 games this season where Josh Allen's played the entirety of a game. And what's our record in those games? 2-2. 2-2, we have beaten 2 postseason teams from last season, okay? 1 on the road against Minnesota. So let's talk about how we looked in those games. If I were to tell you at the end of the year that Josh Allen was going to start this whole season, we'd finish 8-8, would you have been disappointed? Would you have asked for to have Daboll fired? I'm not saying that we would have finished 8-8. You know that's all speculation, obviously. But you look at that Texans game. Before Allen went out, now I know Peterman led the touchdown drive to tie it. But also Peterman gave the pick 6 away, too. So, the flag was on Buffalo, so it's still 21-21 in the Buffalo Bulls versus Miami of Ohio game. So, you look at this and you say, could we have beat the Texans? Because when Allen went out, it was 13-9, right? Or was it? Yeah, I think it was 13-9. So, or 13-6. I'm not sure, but still, we were right there, ready to capitalize. No, it was 10-9 when Allen went out. So we were right there in this game. Okay. Now, where do we win that game? Who knows? But what I can tell you is in the 4 games that the guy we drafted this season to start has started, we've gone 2-2. And in that 2-2 stretch, you're talking about we've scored 20 points against the Chargers. No matter how we scored them, we scored them. Okay, we scored 27 points against Minnesota at Minnesota. And then we scored 12 or 13 points against Tennessee. Obviously, there is that shutout in there against Green Bay, but why? Like, if we finished 8-8 on the season, would you be hollering for the offensive coordinator to be fired? I mean, would you with a rookie quarterback? I don't think so. So let's look at the full body of work now, okay? And we're looking at 0-4 rest. In games Allen did not play the whole game. We're 0-4. All right. Peterman, we've seen what Peterman can do. Are you going to blame Daboll for Peterman, even though he was not there when they drafted him? He had nothing to do. The Buffalo Bulls did end up scoring a touchdown on the drive, making it 28-21 with 38 seconds to go in the first half. But are you going to blame Daboll for Peterman? Because I'm not, because he wasn't even on this team when we drafted Peterman in the 4th round. He's not the one making the decision saying that Peterman's the starter. We all know that Coach McDermott has a man crush on Nathan Peterman. And you know what? That's Sean McDermott's guy. I understand that. But at the same time, that's not on Daboll. I mean, you talk about Daboll's past, right? You talk about how he did with Cleveland, how he was worse in the league as an offensive coordinator in Cleveland. Let me tell you something. Cleveland has made good coaches look bad. Don't believe me? Look up Nick Saban in the NFL. Don't believe me? What was Bill Belichick doing before he became the New England Patriots head coach? They were both in Cleveland. We going to call them bad head coaches? No, I'm not saying Brian Daboll is going to be the next Nick Saban. I'm not saying Brian Daboll is going to be the next Bill Belichick. I'm not saying that. But if he's half of who they are, he's going to be a good coordinator in this league. Okay? Now you look at that 1 year in Kansas City. I would have to look further into that. I can't speak on that. I don't have the stats in front of me for that season. I know that they had the worst scoring offense in the league that year. My thoughts on the Browns releasing Hugh Jackson needed to happen. It should have happened in this offseason. 1 win in 2 years. I mean, here we are. We have 2 wins this season, and we're already talking about firing everybody, right? Bills fans panic. Because we're so used to winning. I get it. We want to win. Of course we want to win. We're the fans. We want to see the best product on the field we can. But the best product on the field when we're at 3 quarterbacks in week 8 is a losing product. Period. I don't care who your coach is. Your coach could be Bill Belichick, and you can have Jacoby Brissett, who was a starter in this league while Andrew Luck was out when they traded him to the Indianapolis Colts. You can have Jacoby Brissett as your 3rd-string quarterback. Still might not win. You still might not win. You still might get shut out, actually, because that's what Buffalo did. Buffalo shut them out that year. So I think we all need to relax on Brian Daboll. I do not think that the situation we're in is his fault. If we're looking to post blame, let's post blame on the GM, Brandon Beane. I like Brandon Beane, but you're looking at a guy who, when we trade A.J. McCarron, just does not do anything to bolster that quarterback position, and now we're suffering because of it. Bottom line, now we're suffering because of it. So, we get Derek Anderson. We should have gotten him in there probably about 2 or 3 weeks earlier, right? If we get him in there 2 or 3 weeks earlier, then he's ready to go against Houston. We don't have to put Nathan Peterman in, and who knows what happens at that point. There's probably no pick 6 to control the game, to make the game 20-13 and to give Houston the win, and then just throw another interception as the cherry on top. If that's who you're looking to blame, that's the only thing that I would be able to look at you and say, yes, that should have been handled better. I was screaming that the moment we got rid of A.J. McCarron. You can't have Josh Allen go to the sideline and look at Nathan Peterman and say, okay, I need to learn something. Because Nathan Peterman has not been in this league long enough, A, and B, he hasn't shown us anything to prove that he can teach anybody anything about being a quarterback in the NFL. So those are my thoughts on Brian Daboll. I know a lot of you disagree with me. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about Brian Daboll. Let me know why you think he deserves to be fired. Is it because we have the 31st ranked offense in the NFL? I understand that. I get that. But again, we've been through 3 quarterbacks in 8 weeks. And Nathan Peterman cannot be put on Brian Daboll. The fact that we didn't get Anderson until 13 days before his first start. 12 days before his first start, because it was a Sunday. 12 days before his first start. Can't put that on Brian Daboll. You can't. So Brian Daboll did the best he could. Derek Anderson was in his second start. Again, he threw for 290 yards. Didn't throw a pick until late in this game when he was trying to force something downfield. Could he have thrown a couple balls better? Are there some balls he probably wishes he had back? I'm thinking about that throw over the middle to Kelvin Benjamin early in the first quarter. I'm thinking about that wide open Zay Jones throw that I missed. I'm thinking about that McCoy catch that was made, but McCoy stumbling as he catches it, unable to run in open field. You probably want some of those back. But at the same time, you're talking about a guy who hasn't been a starting quarterback in a few years. So how much blame do you going to put on him? I mean, I know this offense is struggling. I get that. I'm not happy about the fact we haven't been in the end zone in 2 games either. But let's relax. Relax. We got what we hope is our quarterback of the future. He'll be back this year. Let's see how we do with him back. We have Zay Jones. Seems to be improving week after week after week. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for improvement at this point. Again, guys, we're 2-6. We're not making the playoffs. If you have a fascination, if you have this dream that the Buffalo Bills are making the playoffs, we're not. Okay? That's just the bottom line. We're 2-6. It's not going to be an easy road from here on out. As the Calgary Flames score in overtime to beat the Sabres 2-1. That's the Sabres' second overtime loss of the season. However, we do get a point for that, so that's a good thing. So if you are a Buffalo Sabres fan, Sabres do lose 2-1 in overtime to the Calgary Flames. Bulls are up at halftime, 28-21. So if you're a Buffalo Bulls fan, want to keep you updated on that. Again, my name is Joe. Welcome to Believers Talk. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe. We will keep you updated on all Buffalo sports news. Follow us on Twitter, link in the description. Again, we will constantly keep you updated on Buffalo sports news there as well. Some Bills news today. We have Terrell Pryor coming in. It looks like he will be signing as another wide receiver. Could always use help at that wide receiver position. We did not trade Kelvin Benjamin. The trade deadline has come and passed. We did not trade Kelvin Benjamin. We did not trade LaShawn McCoy. No big trade news for the Buffalo Bills. Some other big trade news: Demaryius Thomas going to the Texans. I think that's a huge move. After Will Fuller gets injured, they get Demaryius Thomas. Makes a big 1-2 combo there with Hopkins and Thomas there. The Texans were my preseason pick to go to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. This pick helps them do that. I really actually I'm seeing them as a potential favorite in the AFC. And then you look at Dallas made the Amari Cooper move. You have HaHa Clinton-Dix being traded to the Redskins from the Packers. Then you have Ty Montgomery trading from the Packers to the Ravens after his costly fumble on Sunday for the Packers. So those are some of the big trades you saw today. The Rams got somebody. Who'd the Rams get from the Jaguars? I can't think of his name. Flowers, right? Off the top of my head. But yeah, so the Rams got him. So the Rams, the rich get richer in that situation. So those are some of the trades from today as the NFL trade deadline hit at 4 p.m. Eastern time this afternoon. But the Bills were not part of the trade. Terrell Pryor, again, came in for a visit. Looks like he's come back to Buffalo to sign and possible another wide receiver, maybe get some speed on the outside. We have Barkley coming, not Saquon Barkley, I wish. Matt Barkley coming in for a visit because, again, now we need to sign another backup quarterback for the Buffalo Bills because you have Josh Allen still unable to start. You have Anderson is now out due to concussion. And, now we just have Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman's our only quarterback currently on the roster ready to play come this Sunday against the Bears. So, again, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. Hit that subscribe button. We will be going live this Thursday during Thursday Night Football during the San Francisco-Oakland Raiders game. We will pregame the Chicago Bears game as we get over that loss last night, 25-6 to the New England Patriots. And what was a great game. If you're a Bills fan, you love the atmosphere. You love the Thurman Thomas retirement ceremony. Everything went well for the Bills up until that fourth quarter. Again, going into that fourth quarter down 12-6, if you would have told me that going into the game, I would have taken it. Unfortunately, the Bills still struggling getting into that end zone, unable to get into that end zone. That's our big problem so far. Offense, obviously not helping our defense, who has done a great job so far most of the games this year to keep us in games. And the defense is going to win us some more games, guys. We're 2-6 right now. A lot of people are saying, we're going to finish 2-14. I can see us winning 4 or 5 games. This defense is going to keep us in games, and this defense is going to win us games later in this year, possibly even this Sunday against the Bears. I'll let you know how I feel about that in the Thursday stream, and coming up on Sunday. Then we'll do a live play-by-play and reaction, so you want to be here for that as well. But again, thank you for joining me here on Believers Talk. The Buffalo Bulls up at halftime, 28-21. Sabres lose in overtime to the Flames, 2-1. We want to keep you posted on all Buffalo sports news. Follow us on Twitter for more information on that. But the Buffalo Bills dropped to 2-6 on the season. If I didn't answer your question, Myth, again, I feel like the Browns needed to release Hugh Jackson. I'm really surprised they released both the head coach and the offensive coordinator. I thought they were going to keep one or the other, and I do agree that this does set Baker Mayfield back a little bit, and that's something I didn't get into with this Brian Dable thing as far as Josh Allen's production coming up this season. You're talking about Josh Allen coming into this league. Are you going to, 8 weeks in, are you going to say, okay, forget everything that guy just taught you, and now the next time you're on the field, you're going to have a new offensive coordinator? Listen to what this guy has to say. I don't buy that. I really just don't buy that. I think we need to stick with Brian Dable. We have nothing to lose here, guys. And another question I would have for you is who's out there? Who would you say we get? And I'm not saying there aren't some good candidates out there. I'm sure there are. But at this point in the season, let's see how we do with Josh Allen back again. Josh Allen's 2-2 on the season, guys. 2-2 on the season. He's looked good in a few of these games. He looked really good in the Vikings game. Obviously, a lot of help from the defense, but that's the type of team the Bills have right now. The Bills have. I do miss Josh Allen, man. Josh Allen might be something. We might have something there. Obviously, lowest accuracy in the league so far for quarterbacks with a minimum of 100 pass attempts or something like that. But But he only has room to go up. We knew his accuracy was an issue. One thing I wish Brian Dable would do is more screen passes. That would obviously help with the accuracy percentage. At least it should. But those are things that Dable's going to work on. Those are things that Dable's going to work out with the offense. It's hard to work that out with the offense when you have 3 starting quarterbacks. Your starting running back has missed a few games already. Our so-called stud number 1 wide receiver can't catch anything to save his life. Those jump balls everyone says Kelvin Benjamin's so good at. I've seen a couple jump balls that he just has not caught. He had one yesterday against Gilmore early in that game that he was unable to come down with, and we've seen that a few times this season. So, and even Zay Jones, you look at that slot guy, Zay Jones, supposed to be one of our better wide receivers until recently, not really showing that he can be one of the starting receivers, but. I know you're probably starting to like Derek Anderson, but I'm not sure how much we're going to see him the rest of this year other than on the bench. By the time Anderson's ready to come back from concussion protocol, Josh Allen might be ready. And at this point, if Josh Allen's ready to go, I say we start Josh Allen. Don't know if you agree with me on that or not. But I do like Derek Anderson still as a role model, someone to teach Josh Allen the ropes. And again, I don't know why Nathan Peterman's down this team. Obviously, this week comes in handy to have a quarterback in there, although you wonder if if Logan Smith or Logan Thomas starting, wouldn't it be as bad as Nathan Peterman starting? But we'll see this week against the Bears. Again, join me on Thursday as we preview the Bears game during Thursday Night Football as the Oakland Raiders take on the San Francisco 49ers. But that's it for me on Believers Talk. Thank you for joining me. Again, you heard my thoughts on Dable. Let me know what you think on Brian Dable. Why should we fire Brian Dable? Because our offense is ranked 31st. Give me some statistics. Give me some reason. I've given you reasons. You might not like the reasons, but I've given you reasons why we should give him a chance through week 8 and possibly through the rest of the season. You can't rely on his time in Cleveland because there have been a lot of good coordinators. I think of Romeo Crennel even, who's now in Houston, making that defense look good. A lot of good coordinators in Cleveland who, had coaches as well who have gone on elsewhere to succeed. I can't speak so much for his time in Kansas City. It was only 1 year. Not sure how much I can speak to that, but you can't look all at the time in Cleveland and say, oh, well, look what he did in Cleveland. The time in Miami actually wasn't that bad. Charles Clay's best season was when Dable was there. Obviously, Charles Clay not living up to the hype since he signed that contract, not living up to it this year. But again, when you're talking about $10 million guaranteed, what are you going to do at that point? So, but that's it for me on Believers Talk. Leave that comment below. We'll talk back and forth. I'll respond to your comments if you leave them. But thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. Again, my name is Joe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that notification bell because we do go live constantly throughout the week. You want to stay up to date on Bills news. You want to be right here on Believers Talk. We keep you updated. Everything that happens in the Bills, we'll let you know about every transaction, whether it be big or small, practice squad, all the way through to the 53-man roster. We let you know. So thank you for joining me here on Believers Talk again. Hit that subscribe button, and we appreciate everyone who has subscribed. We appreciate everything you've done for us. I enjoy coming on here and chatting with you guys. We like the Browns when they had RG3. I don't think we're that bad. Again, I think we have more talent than the Browns. Just need to stop making mistakes. Something else we could talk about is the penalties. We didn't have as many penalties last night either, as I keep going back and forth whether I'm leaving or not. But we didn't have as many penalties yesterday, and that's something that I like to see. No illegal formation penalties. I think the Patriots had 2 illegal formation penalties. We didn't have any, so I was happy to see that. But yeah, there's a lot of good to come out of this game, even though we did lose 25-6. Again, the biggest downside is that we can't get into the end zone. Looking to see improvement in that as we go to play the Bears. A little bit more home cooking. Looking forward to our 4th home game of the season. Again, this could be one of those games that we steal. We did the live stream of the Bears-Jets game. The Bears didn't look that great in the first half of that game. If we can force a couple turnovers, some short fields, who knows what's going to happen again. In the NFL, it's a week-by-week league, guys. We might be able to pull off an upset or 2 here. I would like it for both the Bills to win, and if the survivor pools are still going on, mess them up a little bit. So get me some money, hopefully. But that's it from me. For me here on Believers Talk. Again, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for joining me on this late night. Bulls up by 7 at halftime if you're a Buffalo Bulls fan. Sabres losing overtime 2-1 to the Flames. Get us that 1 point. But we'll see what happens this week. I'll be live Thursday. See if McCoy is healthier. See if Taron Jones is healthier. We'll go through some injury reports. Would love to see Marcus Murphy get some more carries too. But that may be just me. But again, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. Follow us on Twitter. The description below is the link, so follow us there as well. But till next time. Go Bills.